was a fan of these books when I was a kid, and I was in like 5th, 6th, 7th grade when the first 3 movies came out, so it's not creepy that I saw this, right? It's definitely not creepy, I think. Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul. So Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul was the 4th movie in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie franchise based on the best-selling books that I guess they're still writing, but I kind of wasn't expecting them to make another movie. I thought that the cast kind of like grew up. They were too old for the roles now. So what they've done is they've recast everybody. You've got Greg Heffley, who's this little jerky type of kid, and you've got his family, his mom, his dad, his older and younger brothers, and they're going on a road trip, and this is going to be the fun summer type of movie that all families are going to love, right? Well, kind of. It's kind of like better than the Vacation reboot from a few years ago, but not as good as the Vacation reboot from the 80s. So now we have kind of a middle-of-the-road movie, middle-of-the-road road trip movie. I'm just great at transitions like that. So one of the things that I do think really works about this movie is the cast. I did think that they were very fun, interactive with each other. I still don't see some of them in the roles because, again, I grew up watching the original Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies. I was that age. I was middle school age when they were telling those stories. So again, when you have like Rowley in there, like I just picture the old kid who played Rowley in that role, and it was just kind of like different for me. And I still thought Steve Zahn was fantastic as the dad. So like the new dad, like he was good. He was still one of the highlights of the movie, but just not as good as Steve Zahn was. Alicia Silverstone, I think, might beat Rachel Harris just a little bit because she does have more to do in this movie than the mom had to do in any of the previous movies. The kid who plays Greg, like, he's fine. They're like, the kid in the old one I'm so used to because I saw him more. But this kid, like, he was decent in the role. He got, like, jerky and sarcastic down pat. New Roderick, I mean, there's kind of a whole meme trend online, and I do think that he wasn't as rock and roll or as cool or as, like, grungy as the old Roderick was. He was just kind of, like, wimpy and, like, slimy and stuff like that. But, I mean, for this movie, for the absurdity that happens in it, like, he's fine. He serves his role decently, I guess. And I will say that this entire movie is absurd. It is funny. It is just kind of like, it's fun for kids, and that's what I can say, is that if you are a kid, if you are a fan of this book franchise, if you saw the other movies and you're still, like, in that, like, 8 to 12 range, you are going to love this movie. Even if, I'd say, like, 8 to 15 range, I think you'd really love this movie. Just go in, have a ton of fun with it and stuff like that. If you're not old enough to see, like, the Jump Street or American Pie movies, you have to, like, yeah, go in and watch this. You will have a phenomenal time. But what I will say is that if you're an adult and you're taking your kids to this, you might have some laughs, because, like, oh, it's a relatable family road trip type of thing, but this isn't going to be the new E.T. or the new Goonies or the new, like, Vacation from the 80s or anything like that. It isn't a movie that adults are going to love just as much as kids loved. It's not one of those, like, religious experience type of movies. It is mainly aimed at kids, and that's what I gotta say going into this thing. Me being 18 and me being just, like, enough removed from my childhood to still have that, like, nostalgia towards the franchise, I did find myself laughing a bit. I did find myself kind of giving into the immaturity at certain parts. I mean, I will say, there's too many poop and fart jokes for sure. That's just like a staple of the franchise. There's a little bit too much gross out humor, but I will say that for some of the gags in this movie, I did chuckle a few times. I did giggle at more than a few. So I will say that it kind of evens out. Like, for every gag that doesn't work, there's a gag that does work. So I think that, you know, there's kind of a nice balance there. The cast was decent working together, with a few notable exceptions. The dialogue isn't always great. Like, there's a few things where it's like, oh, can we take selfies with you? And I'm like, that's not really how people talk in real life. But, like, again, the writing, I thought, was decent, and maybe that's because they got the author of the books to come in and, like, write part of the screenplay with the director, so it works for that reason. But again, other parts of it, you're like, alright, this is detached from reality a little bit, so, like, I can't absolutely, like, you know, love it as much as maybe the first 3 Diary of Wimpy, because it really had that heart and that grounding. So here's what I'm going to say. Usually, I give ratings to movies. I usually do A through F, or was it A plus through F minus, something like that. And, I should know that since it's my own rating system. But I've been getting a lot of comments recently where it's like, John, you gave this movie a B. It was worthy of an F. The fact that you gave this movie a B is absolutely absurd. Like, you can't call yourself a critic. And I'm like, no, that's not what I do. What I do is I tell you guys who will enjoy this movie. I'll tell you if you're the target audience, if you think you could like this, and I just kind of give a full review about what was good about the movie and what wasn't. And then I give my rating, so a B might be what I thought about the movie, not necessarily what you're going to think about the movie. So the ratings are basically just for me to kind of, like, evaluate on my personal scale what I thought of the movie. So in this case, I am not going to give a rating. I'm going to tell you guys that if you are above the age of 25, you are probably not going to like this movie. If you have kids, like, maybe you'll have some fun, like, little road trip laughs in there. If you're my age, like, kind of a teenager, like, early adulthood, then you might be a little bit nostalgic towards the franchise that you read when you were a kid, and still find enough immature humor in there to like. If you're a kid, you're gonna absolutely love this, and there's not too much in between, I don't think. Like, if you're a Marvel fan who's like, I love snarky humor, right? This is gonna be snarky humor, then this isn't for you. So again, know if you're the target audience, know what you're getting into going into this thing, and if you think that you might enjoy it, then I think you'll have a fun time with it, but it isn't going to be any type of life-changing watching experience for anybody. And please just be nice in the comments from now on. Like, I just do these reviews because I have fun doing them. And same thing with this review. I know that not everybody who saw this movie loved it. It has a pretty bad Rotten Tomato score right now. But again, I found some enjoyment in it, and you know, that's just what I think. And this is my channel, so you know, I'm just saying what I think. But guys, those are my thoughts on Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul. Be sure to leave yours in the comment section down below, politely, please. You guys can also follow me on Twitter. I'm at John M. Hayeck. You guys can go over to mymoviethoughts.com and subscribe to this YouTube channel for tons more posts from me. Links to all three of those are in the description down below. You guys can like this video, comment on it, share it with some friends. I am John Hayeck, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching.